Oh, ahoy there, Buccaneers and Buccarinas, and welcome back! We got more to talk about now, I guess, because now there are balance changes going on in Overwatch as well. It's like this week is the week where everybody just decided, I'm gonna update my game, so that way we can, like, geez, that's not even getting into, like, Yugioh could potentially be having a ban list sometime this week. Like, today's the day, it could be, but, like, that, we never know! But, in the meantime, I'm going to talk about, more importantly, Overwatch, because, let's be honest, it's pretty important stuff. So, first of all, we have Baptiste. He's getting a little bit of an adjustment here, mostly to his immortality field, which is getting a duration change from 8 seconds to 5 seconds, and then the cooldown for it is getting increased from 20 seconds to 25 seconds. That's really big, like, I feel like it's almost even an overcorrection, but then again, I'm the kind of Baptiste player who just kind of throws it out in the middle of a fight and just kind of is like, don't die, team! Please don't die! Kill them a little bit more, don't die to them as much, so I can heal you, so that way we can be good. The other thing is that they actually adjusted the amplification matrix cost for the ultimate. They upped that by about, I think it was 20%, which frankly, that's fine, because like that was one of the fastest charging ults in the game because of like how easy it was to just heal a bunch of your teammates and then just charge up that ult. I think that was a fine change. Don't mind the ult change as much, but like Immortality field is kind of like, on the one hand, it really feels like this is an overcorrection, but on the other hand, we're also looking at something that's like, well, I mean, I guess you can abuse it. I guess some people who are way better at this game than I am but a lonely plat player myself, so unless you're talking damage, in which case, well, you know, lower than that. But still, like, you know, I guess some people were abusing it at higher levels because it was just like, oh, well, it was basically like 8 seconds of living forever around a corner, so it was kind of easy to work around. So I guess there was that. Overall, I'm not too opposed to these changes, but I feel like the Immortality field is going to kind of, you know, get some adjustments, kind of course correction back, because I feel like 5 seconds is just way too short to get any sort of value out of it, and 25 seconds is way too long of a pause between it. So, again, can't say it's like the absolute worst thing, but I think this is just kind of like, you know, compared to what it was before, this is just kind of a big step, like, just a huge course correction for the ability, and I think it's just going to make Baptiste really, really weak by comparison, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not GM, so what do I know about the game anyway? And then we finally got rid of, like, a lot of this stuff that A was doing, because, jeez, it's about time they hit something with May with regards to this endothermic blaster thing. The freeze is just like low-key super powerful because you can hit multiple targets with that freeze ray and it's like they get slowed down way too much. Like now, like to give an idea, now they've nerfed it down to like the slowing effect works from like 20% slower to 70% slower, when right now it works from 30 to 90. Wow. Yikes! Like, that's just such a huge bump, and that's not even including the actual time you're legitimately frozen. That's the slowing part, is going from 20 to 70 after coming down from 30 to 90, and the actual freeze, the actual thing that is like you're just locked in place, that lasts 1.5 seconds right now, and that's gonna cut back down to 1 second. Frankly, bit overdue. Like, jeez, what took you guys so long? Thank goodness we're gonna get some changes today, because like, it's just, it never felt very good. Freeze never felt like a great ability to like fight against, because you're almost always like every time, every Mei player I ever encounter is always doing the same thing. You're gonna be like, just doing your own business. You're gonna be shooting people, you're gonna be swinging your hammer, you're gonna be doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, there's this little and then suddenly you're getting frozen, and you're just like, oh no, there's a Mei, I gotta turn around. And by the time you've turned around, she's already got you. Like, you can't even begin to do that much damage to a hero that has 250 health anyway, and she's freezing you? and then you're just like, or like, it was never a good ability. It was never any good to fight against. So, yeah. So next up on the list is D.Va, and her boosters are getting their cooldown reduced from 5 to 3 seconds. And that doesn't sound like it's a very big change. It sounds like it's like, okay, she gets her boosters back much faster now. What good does that do? Well, I've ended up playing a little bit of the PTR patch on this point, and it really does feel like, you know, D.Va can move around a lot better, and I think that's a lot better for her. I don't think she's gonna be like super amazing good. Like, it's not one of those changes that's just like all of a sudden D.Va overtakes the meta sort of thing. Like, it's just now she can move around a lot faster. Like, you compare it to like something like Winston, who jumps about every 5 seconds or so, because he jump and then he's got like his cooldown for about 5 seconds, and then he lands, and then he can't jump again until, you know, 5 seconds after that moment. That's right. That's how his cooldown works, you know. I know how to play a tank. I'm only a plat player. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And then it's kind of like, you know, 5 seconds was fine. That was about what D.Va's was anyway. So it just seemed like they could coordinate a little bit in that regard, and that was fine. But then it's like he's also got like the 700 point bubble, and he's able to electrify a lot of individual people all at once if they're all grouped up. So he has some advantages in that regard. D.Va doesn't, right? And then you look at Wrecking Ball, who kind of like, he does that same sort of thing where it's like he's got a 5-second cooldown on the grappling thing. You know, he releases the grapple, and that's the moment that the cooldown starts. But he's also got the slam. He's also got like the shooting thing. He's got the shields for himself, based on how many people are around. Winston and Wrecking Ball have tools that kind of like address multiple targets. D.Va doesn't really. Like, Defense Matrix sort of does, but like it's shorter. It's on a small cooldown of like, it's only useful for like 1.5, 2 seconds or so. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do. Micro Missiles doesn't really address a full team or anything like that. It hits one guy really, really hard with the regular primary, but it doesn't do a whole lot else. So, frankly, the booster change is nice. It'll be nice to kind of see D.Va be a little bit better. I don't know if this really changes too much, but I do think it feels a lot better to have her zipping around. It just feels better for her to just go and then and then, you know what I mean? Speaking of tanks, Orisa is getting that Fortify damage reduction thing going from 50 to 40. Like, I think it used to be actually like 30 before that, and then they bumped it up to 50 because she was like dying too hard. Now she's not dying, so they're bumping it down to 40, so that's fine. I don't think that's really like between the Fortify and the shield reduction, I think we're in a good spot. I think we're in a good spot generally. I think Orisa will be fine. I don't think he's dropping out of the meta anytime soon, per se. But the Fortify defense is like, you know, now it feels like with Fortify and armor, which she does have extra armor on top of that, like, it doesn't feel like, I think ultimately Orisa's gonna feel a little bit like not as bulky with the Fortify as she does now currently, because now she's not taking like half damage based on the armor and then half of that based on her Fortify, which means she's not like ridiculously invincible or anything. So now it's kind of like, okay, we can actually address this. Now I actually feel like you can actually go in on her and actually kill her. Decimate her. That's a positive, I think. And then they started talking about Hanzo's arrows with the projectile speed going down from 125 down to 110. And the way they'd explain that is that, okay, the arrow currently has like a base speed of 25, and then based on how long you charge the arrow, then it gets like an additional speed up to another 100. So, you know, right now that's like 25 base, and then you add 100 more on that. So the total ends up being 125, which made it almost equivalent to a hit scan, because that's just how fast the projectile was going. And it's a subtle change that it's going down to like now round to like 110, because I think that it's 85, I think, is what the new full charge additional speed is. So it's 25 plus 85, which is 110. And that pretty much means like the projectile is a little bit slower, which means it's very important, because based on how the projectile arrow works, it actually comes down a little bit faster. So it's like right now it's kind of like pachoo, and then it like hits the guy in the head, and now it's like pachoo, and it could hit the guy in the feet potentially. So speed is complicated, just like Hanzo arrows are again. Woohoo! I think. Unless you like Hanzo. In which case. And then the very last change, Doomfist's uppercut, his recovery time after he does an uppercut is being extended from like 0.25 seconds to 0.5 seconds. Just means he can't do anything. Like, he really can't do anything until after. And like, he does the uppercut, and then he's done for like another half a second before he can shoot people. And that's pretty important, because the way the interaction works now is that, you know, usually he'll come in, he'll seismic slam, then he'll uppercut, and then he'll like do like a couple shots, and that kills like a lot of squishy characters. But depending on how high the slam is coming from and how much damage it does. But like, that uppercut is guaranteed damage, and those shots, that can be guaranteed damage. So depending on the seismic slam, I think there's like a science to this sort of thing with Doomfist players. But the long story short is that this uppercut time extension, as far as like doing anything after you've completed the uppercut motion, it's basically to help give people a chance. And I think that's a good thing, because anything that can give you a chance against Doomfist, who is basically just one-shotting everybody anyway in a whole various set of manners. I mean, it's kind of like the new iteration of what the Roadhog hook combo used to be, where it's just like, you hook somebody, and then you blast them, and then they die. But now it's like, you hook them, you gotta punch them, and you gotta blast them in a specific way to get a headshot, possibly even another melee in or something like that. I don't know. I think it's like, you're supposed to like hook, blast, or like you're supposed to blast then hook, so they get hit by the blast as they're getting hooked, as they get dragged. Roadhog hook combos are complicated these days, but people still one-shot me with them, so what do I know about that sort of thing? Yeesh. So yeah, this is a pretty quick little update patch. It's been around for like the last few days or so. Feel free to try it out on the PTR if you're on a PC. Otherwise, what do you guys think? Do you think there'll be any changes? You think Baptiste will be like super weak without that immortality field? And that amplification matrix isn't like that super ridiculous? You think Hanzo's less of a hit scan? You think Doomfist is more survivable? You think Mei is absolutely more survivable? Absolutely. And then, yeah, otherwise, who knows? I'll have to figure out a new topic. Hopefully I can find out a new topic for like next week. It'll just be like, oh, is there another balance update happening right now? My goodness. What are the chances that Jeff Kaplan releases yet another balance update, and then all this other stuff? It's been a surprisingly balance heavy week. I mean, what between like, you know, new cards and Yu-Gi-Oh and Hearthstone getting all these changes, and I'm not even sure I'm gonna be. I talk about that adventure stuff now too, like Reno going poof, poof. See what I did there? You see what I did there? Ha ha!